Each academic subject in Trinity is associated with a subject librarian. They are there to liaise between the library and the different academic departments to enable that there are enough materials on every subject and to provide training in accessing all the resources to do with that. So, for example, we would provide training at the start of term to all the new students, and that will continue through the various years, giving extra training on how to use databases to access new resources that become available. And we would also be there to liaise with staff, to help them with training, to get them more au fait with using various databases, and to buy the various books and resources which are necessary for them to teach their classes. We are there to provide training to staff, so if a member of staff wants to get more au fait with a particular database, or if they want to know how to use, say, bibliographic referencing software like EndNote, we're there to help them. Perhaps our main role, though, is with buying books and resources for members of staff here. So, for instance, to put on reading lists. That's why it's vital to get a reading list in a timely fashion to us so that we can buy resources for our students and for the coming term. So with regard to that, it's very important that any book which you want to refer to a student, or indeed that any guest lecturer or visiting member of staff wants to recommend to a student, you let us know in good time so that we can buy it. And that's very important for students who are registered with a disability service, because it will take longer to get them in an accessible format for them. So we need to know well ahead of term starting before we can get the books into the library. Sometimes it can take up to, say, 2 months before between us ordering a book and actually hitting the shelves. So it is very important to get the books recommended to us in a timely fashion. Basically, if you consider what your students will actually need to know and what we will need to know to be able to buy the relevant amount of books, because there are different rules for borrowing in Trinity if you're a staff or postgraduate to if you're an undergraduate, we need to know which books to buy and how many students there are for every course. So when you're sending in a reading list to us, if you can let us know what the status of the students is in college, or whether indeed the book is for you rather than for your students, and that way we can buy the appropriate formats for it. It was also very handy if we can know how many students there are, because whether we buy 1 copy or 10 copies or 20 copies will depend on how many students there are studying that particular course, and indeed other courses using the same textbooks. So it's great if we know that. We also recommend that you keep a close eye on whether new editions have been published of a particular work, because if you're referencing an old edition, it's likely we will have put that into storage rather than having it out on the shelf. And especially if the editors or the names change slightly, students will be looking for a book which just isn't available in the library anymore, when they should be directed towards the new edition. Now, if new books come out like that, it's great if you can let us know. We do keep an eye, obviously, on new editions coming out, but we have 5 million volumes in the library, so we can't know every one which comes out every time it does. So if you know that there's a new book out, let us know and we'll see about getting the appropriate number of copies for it. The same if you're putting a new book on the reading list, or indeed if you're deleting a book, let us know, because that way we won't bother, say, buying 30 more copies of a book you've taken off a reading list when a new edition comes out. It's very easy to get in contact with us. The first protocol for everything to do with the library is the library website at tcd.ie/library. On the homepage of the library website there is a little link there saying subject guides. So every academic subject has this subject guide associated with it, which lists the contact point for the library, the subject librarian, and any other resources which we think might be of some use to someone studying that particular subject. Now, from the other perspective, say a member of staff in their department, it's very useful for us if there's a library liaison officer in every school or department, just someone who can talk to us about, say, reading this or getting more resources into the library. So they can contact us through the same route. Basically, we're happy to hear from anyone who's associated with the college and help them out in any way that we can.